Well, in a previous episode, I tested a battery from LiPulse, and after some basic testing, I teased that I was going to build a power station. Well, that's what we're going to do today. With a few items and some power tools, let's build that power station. This is what's next. Well, I'm still waiting for some pieces, but you can see here I have a mess of stuff. And I'm going to credit my son for saying that I should walk through this process. I did get my crimper, but I'm still missing some pieces. So we may have to end up resorting to electrical tape short term to get this together. All right, up to this point, I have taken the faceplate here and I've made some circles with this pencil. You can see I already have a guide hole in place. Not as centered as I wanted it to be, but hey, it's a start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this tape and this piece, and I should now have, yes. The goal is now to basically make this hole here and here that will allow me to, mount these in their appropriate spot. So let's go ahead and get that done. There's the first hole. Let's do the second one. Okay, I'm gonna pop this out. All right, come on. There we go. And just like that. All right, let me get this all cleaned up. It looks pretty clean. So again, this is going to sit right over top of those. So the next thing I'm going to do is I got to find the screws to this. It's in one of the packages here. All right, you'll see here that I have some pencil markings. That's going to be for these screws. But I'm not going to do that quite yet. And yes, that'll make them exposed. I'm not really sure how well that's going to work, but at least temporarily, that's what we're going to use. But what I need to do now is this piece here, this needs to come out the back, right about here. But I made this hole a little bit too big, so I need to resize this and get it so that when I put this into the case, I'll be able to guide this wire out through the back. There is our new hole, and that should fit in. It's going to be loose, but again, the cable's going to come up through here, and then that'll give me the connection to recharge the battery either through AC DC charging or direct DC charging with a solar converter or solar charger. All right, next I got to figure out how to best get this piece out. All right. I have 4 little holes, guide holes, and I'm going to try to figure out a way to get this to cut it. I might try a box cutter just to see if I can get that sliced open. And there we go. Not perfect, but we'll get that sealed up somehow. But at least now this can go in and out, and we have that all set. So one of the things that I'm still waiting on, which is the reason why I have the crimpers, is that this is not the right connection. So I was hoping to maybe get that done tonight, but I think I'm going to just try to go ahead and get like a rough version of this together. So I did pick these up, and they're kind of these splitters, double male-female adapter, F2s. And we're going to go ahead and get those installed on here. So we're going to go and remove this electrical tape. So here is that Y, and that'll just go on like so. And hopefully I got the right one. There we go. Let me get the other one on. So now what we can do is we can take this, and we know that this is the positive, and we're going to go and put you on, actually we'll put this on at the bottom. The negative is now connected. So that's done. So temporarily what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get these things connected after we get this installed. So there's that piece. Now I don't like that these things are sticking out, but maybe I'll look for shorter screws at some point. But again, work in progress concept is what we're looking at. Next, we want to go ahead and get these installed. And then for those that are not aware, you just kind of unscrew these, right? And then they'll go in a particular way, like that, right? And then the same thing with this. Just like that. And then there's our side piece. Those should pop right off, no problem. Looks good. Next, we get the wires connected. We know that this first one and that first one are both positive. The other two are negative. So we're going to start with the back one first. And then that should go in like that. And then we're going to start with the back one here. Okay. And we're going to get the white one out, or red one out of the way. This one will come up and lock in like so. And then this one will lock in like so. All right. So that is all wired up and good to go. Next, we're going to put some Velcro on the bottom of this battery. I'm probably just going to put a strip here and a strip there. All right, the Velcro is now on. I'm going to go and take the plastic piece off. And then we're going to gently put this battery in down here. I'm going to press down on the battery. Okay. And now that's in there, and that's not going to move. But it's not adhered to the bottom, so I should be able to pull this out if I needed to replace it at some point. Okay, we need to get these terminals connected. And like I said, I don't have the F2 terminals right now, so we're just going to go and tape these. All right, for now, I just put in a 10 amp fuse. If I need to go higher or lower, but this is not a very high powered system. All right, so then that's gets like that. We close the box up. It is now sealed. We have power. Now the one thing I wanted to test is, can we charge it with this connector? Uncover that. This will go in like so. Let's see what happens. It's either going to blow up or it's going to work. All right, it's charging. It should figure out here in a moment, like, how much does it have left. But let's test out those connections. All right, we're showing 13.4 volts, but this does have a power switch, so I can turn that off. Just like that. And we have our old original iPad Air. We're going to plug that in here. And again, we should see, if I zoom out a little bit so you can see what's going on. Plug that in. And it is saying charged. So it is currently charging. There's the icon right there. Now, if I wanted to, I should be able to just shut that off. And it now is no longer charging. So it is a true on and off switch. We're going to leave that charging in the background. And then our CarPlay screen. Get that plugged in. And then this is the big test here. Will this work? There it goes. I just didn't have it in. There we go. And there's our CarPlay. And it's working. So I guess I built a power station. Now, is the cabling great? No. But for right now, I have this up and running. Well, it's the next day. Finally, my pieces and parts showed up. I have a bunch of connectors here, but lo and behold, one of the bags that I had these with it. So I probably didn't need the box. So the goal is to take these two wires, and these were being held on by electrical tape. Not good. And we want to make certain that we get these to work with this connector, which will then go on to this Y adapter, then get plugged into the battery, and then we should have a solid connection. So let's go ahead and get these cut. So this is my new tool that I got just for this purpose. It was fairly inexpensive. This was about $10. But if we go in, and we'll just use the cutter here. I'm going to add a little bit of space just in case if I want to use these later. There's that. We're going to do the same thing with this one. All right, here we go. We're going to put this in here like so. Make sure that we have enough overhang. And clip that and pull. And then there we go. Twist these up. And now we have 2 connections. Now let's get these installed. And my goal is to get these out of the sleeve here. There's the piece. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the wire. And that should go in like that. You do the same thing with this one. I'm going to kind of punch it out. Pull this out. As that went flying. Luckily I found it. And this wire. Let me get that straightened up here. Alright. So those 2 pieces are together now. Alright, we're going to put the wire in here. If you can see that. Okay. So we're going to crimp it that way. And yep, there you go. That'll go in like that. The wire will go into this, although I'm seeing extra strands. So we're going to go ahead and rewrap that. Wire should be able to go in like so. Pops out. Is that the cleanest connection? No. And now the goal is to get them connected to here. So this should slide on like so. Like that. Much better. I mean, kind of push the sleeve up a little bit if we can. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing with the red. Positive. Now let's go ahead and get these reconnected. So for clarification, I needed to use this crimp part, not the one above it, the 28. So the 22, it came undone. So I'm just letting you know that I have to redo that again. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in there. And hopefully this is a much better connection. Looks way better than the last one did. So I'm probably going to redo the negative as well. The other thing I ended up doing is I reworked these wires so they're not crossed. It was like this. But we're going to go ahead and put the negative on. And get our positive on. Just like that. We have power again. Let's see if we can get these cables in here looking a little bit better. Trying to get them under the screws here. And then, okay. I don't know. What do you think? Better? And there's our power station. I'm going to go ahead and call this project done. I will be playing with it more today. I'm going to actually be doing a recharge, but we are going to go back to the studio for my final thoughts on building my very first power station. Since building this power station, I have recharged it several times, as well as run a portable 12-volt refrigerator, charged my MacBook Pro and iPad, and even ran my Bond record player from the USB connection. While there are limitations to this build, like the max output via the USB-C connection is 30 watts, I'm happy with how this turned out. So, was it worth building this power station? I think so. The total cost for this project build was $135. Yeah, I could purchase a portable power station off of Amazon that's within the same price range of this build. However, this is something I built, and if anything needs to be replaced, I can fix it. By adding a solar charge controller, I can take this on a trip and keep it charged off-grid. This is something I plan to test when it gets a bit warmer outside. Right now, it's just too darn cold. Is this project for everybody? Probably not, but if you were thinking about doing something like this, I hope this video will inspire you to give it a try. As a reminder, I placed links to the project items in the description if you're interested. Well, that's a wrap for today. If you found this episode helpful, take a moment and click the thumbs up icon and subscribe button. To watch another episode, you can click here or here. And until next time, I'll see you again for another episode of Hey, What's Next?